Good morning, fourth graders. Today is Friday. Yay, another week. Just keep on keeping on, guys. Prodigy, try your Epic. If you're having troubles, I did send out my cell phone number. Please feel free to use that if you need me. I'll try to help you get on to Hangouts if you haven't gotten on Hangouts yet. I have, I think, 12 of my 18 kids. So I've been talking and video chatting with everybody, and it's so much fun to see everybody's faces, you guys. I just urge you to please try to get on Hangouts. I just am dying to see my kiddos. Yeah, so just keep on keeping on. Try Epic. I do have a password I can give people. I know that a few people have said that that doesn't work. So please feel free to dojo me, call me. Hangouts as video hangouts where I can actually see everybody's faces and talk to everybody, so that's kind of cool too. So just keep on keeping on, guys. Get outside, get some fresh air, and don't forget I'm here for you guys. So please, if you need me, contact me. All right, so in the city of Ember today, what happened in the store yesterday, guys? Lena, we know, is a messenger, and Dune got into the pipeworks, and we know that there's something going on. There's something wrong with the city. Lena had gotten a message that she needed to give to the governor. Remember, she had 4 things that she had to make sure she followed, and one of them was to only give the message to the person it was intended to. And so she went to where the governors stay, and she was talking to one of the guys there, and she was left alone, waiting to see the mayor. And I left off right where a door opened. A door opened, and still no one came. Odd, Lena thought. She heard no sounds from the hallway. Maybe they'd forgotten about her? Lena went over to the closed door in the right-hand wall. She pulled it open and saw stairs going up. Maybe, while she waited, she'd just see where they went. She started up, and at the top of the first flight was a closed door. Carefully, she opened that. She saw another hallway and more closed doors, and she shut the door and kept going. Her footsteps sounded loud in the wood, and she was afraid someone would hear her and come and scold her. No doubt she was not supposed to be here. But no one came, and she climbed on, passing another closed door. The gathering hall was the only building in Ember with 3 stories. She had always wanted to stand on its roof and look out at the city. Maybe from there it would be possible to see beyond the city into the unknown regions. If the bright city of her drawings really did exist, it would be out there, somewhere. At the top of the stairs, she came to a door marked roof, and she pushed it quietly open. Chilly air brushed against her skin, and then she was outside. Ahead of her was a flat gravel surface, and about 10 paces away she could see the high wall of the clock tower. She went to the edge of the roof. From there she could see the whole of Ember. Directly below was Harkin Square, where people were moving this way and that, all of them appearing, from this top-down view, more round than tall. Beyond Harkin Square, the lighted windows of the buildings made checkered lines, yellow and black, row after row in all directions. She tried to see farther, across the unknown regions, but she couldn't. At the edges of the city, the lights were so far away they made a kind of haze. She could see nothing beyond them, but pitch black. She heard a shout from the square below. "Look!" came a small but piercing voice. "Someone's on the roof!" She saw a few people stop and look up. "Who is it? What is she doing there?" someone cried. More people gathered until a crowd was standing on the steps of the gathering hall. "They see me," Lena thought, and it made her laugh. She waved at the crowd and did a few steps from the Bugfoot Scurry dance, which she learned on Clothing Square Dance Day. They laughed and shouted some more at her. Then the door behind her burst open, and a huge guard with a bushy black beard was suddenly running toward her. "Halt!" he shouted. "Halt!" Though she wasn't going anywhere, he grabbed her by the arms. "What are you doing here?" "I was just curious," said Lena, in her most innocent voice. "I wanted to see the city from the roof." She read the guard's name badge. It said, Reg Stabmark, Chief Guard. "Curiosity leads to trouble," said Reg Stabmark. He peered down at the crowd. "You have caused commotion." He pulled her toward the door and hustled her down all 3 flights of stairs. When they came out into the waiting room, Barton Snood was standing there looking flustered, his jaw twitching from side to side, and next to him stood the mayor. "A child causing trouble, Mayor Cole," said the chief guard. The mayor glared at her with beady little eyes. "I recall your face. Ha! From assignment day. Shame! Shame upon you! Disgracing yourself and your new job." "I didn't mean to cause trouble," said Lena. "I was looking for you so I could deliver a message." "Shall we put her in the prison room for a day or 2? asked the chief guard. The mayor frowned and pondered a moment. "What? is this message?" he said. He bent down so that Lena could speak into his ear. She noticed that he smelled like overcooked turnips. "Delivery at 8, Lena whispered. "From Looper." The mayor smiled, a tight little smile, and turned to the guard. "Just child's antics," he said. "We will let it go this time, but from now on," he said to Lena, "behave yourself." "Yes, Mr. Mayor," said Lena. "And you," said the mayor, turning to the assistant guard and shaking a thick finger at him, "watch visitors more carefully." Bart and Snood blinked and nodded. Lena ran for the door, and outside the small crowd was still standing by the steps. A few of them cheered as Lena came out. Others frowned at her and muttered words like mischief and silliness and show-off. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Lena felt embarrassed suddenly. She hadn't meant to show off. She hurried past and onto Otterville Street and started to run as fast as she could. She didn't see Doone, who was among those watching her. He had been on his way home from his first day in the pipeworks when he'd come across the cluster of people gazing up at the roof of the gathering hall and laughing. Doone was tired and he was chilly. The bottoms of his pant legs were wet and mud clung to his shoes as it smeared on his hands. When he raised his eyes and saw the small figure next to the clock tower, he realized right away it was Lena. He saw her raise her arm and wave and hop about, and for a second he wondered what it would be like to be up there, looking out over the whole city, laughing and waving. When Lena came down, he wanted to speak to her, but he knew he was filthy looking and that she would ask him questions he did not want to answer. So he turned away, and walking fast, he headed for home. Chapter 3 is called Under Ember. That morning, Doone had arrived at the pipeworks full of anticipation. This was the world of serious work at last, where he would get a chance to do something useful. What he'd learned in school and from his father and from his own investigations, he could put it all to good purpose now. He pushed open the heavy pipeworks door and stepped inside. The air smelled strongly of dampness and moldy rubber, which seemed to him a pleasant, interesting smell. He strode up a hallway where yellow slickers hung from pegs on the walls, and at the end of the hallway was a room full of people, some of them sitting on benches and pulling on knee-high rubber boots, some struggling into their slickers, some buckling on tool belts. A ruckus clamor filled the room. Doone watched from the doorway, eager to join in, but not exactly sure what to do. After a moment, a man emerged from the throng, and he thrust out a hand. "Leicester Monk, Pipeworks director," he said. "You're the new boy, right? What size feet do you have? Large, medium, small?" "Well," excuse me, said Doone. And Lister found him a slicker and a pair of boots. Medium. The boots were so ancient that their green rubber was cracked all over, as if covered with spider webs. He gave Doone a tool belt, too, in which were wrenches and hammers, spools of wire and tape, and tubes of some sort of black goop. "You'll be in Tunnel 97, Leicester said. "Arlen Frau will go down with you and show you what to do." He pointed a short, delicate-looking girl with white blonde braid down her back. "She may not look like an expert, but seriously, she is." Doone buckled his tool belt around his waist and put on his slicker, which for some reason smelled like sweaty feet. "This way," said Arlen, without saying hello or smiling. She roved through the crowd of workers to a door-marked stairway and opened it. Stone steps led so far down that Doone could not see the end of them. On either side was a sheer wall of dark reddish stone glistening with dampness. There was absolutely no railing, and along the ceiling ran a single wire from which one light bulb hung every couple yards. Water stood in shallow pools on each stair, and in the hollow worn into the stones by years of steps. They stared down. Doone concentrated on his feet. The clumsy boots made it hard not to stumble. As they went deeper, he began to hear a low roar, so low he seemed to hear it more with his stomach than his ears. It grew louder and louder. Was it a machine of some kind? Was it a generator? The stairway came to an end at a door marked Main Tunnel. Arlen opened it, and as they stepped through, Doone realized that the sound he had been hearing was not a machine. It was a river. He stood still, staring. Like most people, he had never been really sure what a river was, just that it had water that somehow flowed on its own. He'd imagined it would be like a clear, narrow stream that came out of a kitchen faucet, only bigger and horizontal instead of vertical. But this was something else entirely different. It was not a stream. It was an endless river, an endless water. It was pouring by him. wide as the widest street in Ember, churning and dipping and swirling. The river roared past its turbulent surface like black liquid glass scattered with flecks of light. Doone had never seen anything that moved so fast, and he had never heard such a thunderous, heart-stopping roar. The path they stood on was about 6 feet wide and ran parallel to the river for farther than Doone could see in both directions. In the wall along the path were openings that must lead, Doone thought, to the tunnels that branched everywhere below the city. A string of lights like the one in the stairway hung high up against the arched ceiling. Doone knew he was standing beneath the north edge of Ember. In school, you were taught to remember the directions this way. North was the direction of the river, south was the direction of the greenhouses, east was the direction of the school, and west was the direction left over, having nothing in particular to mark it. All the pipeworks tunnels branched off from the main tunnel to the south, toward the city. Arlen leaned toward Doone and shouted into his ear, "First, we'll go to the beginning of the river!" she screamed. She led him up the main tunnel for a long way, and they passed other people in yellow slickers who greeted Arlen with a nod and glanced curiously at Doone. After 15 minutes or so, they came to the east edge of the pipeworks, where the river surged up from a deep chasm in the ground, churning so violently that its dark water turned white and filled the air with a spray that wet Doone's face. In the wall to their right was a wide double door. "Do you see that door?" Arlen shouted, pointing. "Yes," Doone shouted back. "That's the generator room." "Can we go in?" Doone asked. "No, of course not," Arlen said. "You have to have special permission." She pointed back down the main tunnel. "Now we'll go to the end of the river," she said. "Don't lose me." And that's where we'll end. You guys have a great weekend. And again, on Dojo, I'm going to put up a time so that we can chat on Monday. And I hope to see all of you, and I hope everybody gets on by then. Call me if you need me. Okay, bye, guys.